Hi, welcome to Posca Club. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a character called Kim Pine from the graphic novel Scott Pilgrim. What I particularly like about this character is, number one, how simple it is to draw. You just start off with a circle for a head. Everything else kind of falls away from that circle. And secondly is the amount of expression that we can get across in this character as well. Some characters really going crazy. So let me show you what colours we're going to use. Obviously you don't feel obliged to use the same colours as me. Go for whatever you want. But if you want to use the same as me, this is what I'm going for. Cacao brown and brown. This is going to be for the hair colour. Cacao brown and brown. So, but essentially, as long as you've got a light version and a dark version of the same colour, we'll be okay in there. The brown is just going to be for a little highlight across the top of the head, so you probably don't even need that if you don't want to use it. Getting into the skin tone, I'm going to mix things up a little bit and use light orange for skin tone today. Last time we did a Scott Pilgrim character, I used apricot, which is also a nice pale skin tone. This time, light orange. Into the mouth, again mixing things up a bit. Here's a colour that we don't very often use, which is red wine. Red wine is going to be for the back of the mouth. Coral is, or coral pink is going to be for the tongue. And then finally down here, colour-wise, we're going to use deep grey and grey. This is just going to help us with the collar of the jacket and the neck, around the neck. If we get a chance towards the end of the session, we'll put in some extra lines for the arms and the body of the jacket, but I'm not sure we'll get time, so let's just concentrate on the collar of the jacket there first. Okay, so deep grey and grey for that. Finally, a couple of safety pens, a black and a black. It's all of these are 5M. The reason I've got two blacks is because one of them is a 5M, the other is a 3M. Quite a lot of our lines will be done with a 3M. Detail around the eyes, not even the detail, colouring in around the eyes, the black part around the eyes will be done with the fat pen. Okay, there's your colours. Let's start drawing, shall we? So go and take your skin tone, whatever you're using for your skin tone. Doesn't really matter what shade you're using. Just go and grab a colour and use it. It doesn't have to be this pale skin tone. Can be a darker skin tone. Can be a completely crazy one like a blue or a purple. But let's go and grab that. First thing we're going to do is a big circle in here. Now it's important to remember as we do this circle that the hair is going to come out a little bit wider. Okay, so don't go too massive with your circle. Let's go. I'm going to go just there. And about that kind of size. So this is an A4 Art Gecko Freestyle sketchbook. And you can see, look, I've got about 2 finger widths, I guess, either side, just over 2 finger widths. That's kind of what we want to go for, okay? So second shape that we're going to do with our skin tone is we're going to draw the top of the mouth and then the 2 side parts of the mouth as well. Okay, now the top of the mouth is about halfway up the page, and it's just a little line across like that. Slight curve to it, that would be cool. And then bring those 2 lines down. Like that. And you can see how that is like a square shape, but it's a little bit swollen. It's a little bit like it's been blown up. So we've got these slight curves either side, okay? That's what you want to go for. Last thing down here then with this skin tone, a couple of little lines inside of the mouth there. Well, not as wide as the mouth is what I should say. And yeah, just bring a couple of little lines down there. That's going to be for the part of the neck that we can see. Okay. Now, next colour then. Let's go with that deep grey. So I'm using grey and deep grey. This is just going to be for the neck of the collar. The deep grey is going to be the main colour of the fabric. And this normal grey is going to be for a little detail around the zip. Go and grab that deep grey, and what we're going to do is like a capital C. Capital C, but kind of turn it on its back with the opening at the top. We're going to start on the back of the neck this side. We're going to go round here. We're going to hit these 2 lines at the bottom, and then we're going to finish on the back of the neck the other side. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see what I mean by this. But let's starting just there, round, hit the bottom lines, around the other side, finish up there. That will then become the hole where the jacket opens up, okay? We'll finish that off by taking 2 lines. These 2 lines are just going to come inwards slightly. And then you see that curve that we just did just there, that bottom curve. We're going to repeat that curve down here, look. Just a real subtle curve. That'll do for now. That's where you should be. Okay, next section is, this is the fun section because we're going to throw in the hair on this character. So we're going to use our dark brown, cacao brown. I've got just brown and cacao brown. Cacao's a little bit darker, so we're going to use that one first, and then the other brown's just going to be a little highlight that we'll put on later. Right, are we ready to go then? What we're going to do is we're going to start on the outside of the head first, and then we'll work our way into the inside, okay? Now, with the outside of the head, we need to start at the top. We're going to start just outside the actual head here, yeah? Because that's our actual head. Hair is just going to be just outside of it. Let me zoom in just a bit. Yeah, this just about there should do. Let me just come back a little bit more. There you go. So like I say, we're starting just outside. What we're going to do is we're going to come around the side of the head, stay the same distance around the side of the head till we get to about this point, and then we're going to just curl it out. Okay, so just start there. Follow it till we get to this point, and then curl it out. It's up to you. You can do the same on the other side as we go along, or we can just do one side and do the other side later. That's what I'm going to do. Now what we're going to do is we want this line, we're going to do a zigzag that's going to end up somewhere on this jacket here. So let's go and put in 1, 2, 3 points in here. So watch this, watch these curves, look. 1, and then out, 2, then out, 3. And you see, look, these points, look, here, they're all getting very... the same distance from the edge of the head. So try and do that so we stay the same distance from the edge of the head. And we're getting closer to that collar as well. So 1, 2, 3 little zigzags. Then what we're going to do is we're going to turn those zigzags round. So this time it's going to come out this way, curve out the opposite way, back up and then into the collar, okay? That way, back up, into the collar. Okay, have you got that in? Let's go and do the same kind of thing on the other side. So remember how we started off, just going around the outside there. Flick the hair out. Let's bring it back in with a few zigzags. 1, 2, 3. Then we change the angle of that zigzag. We go the opposite way, look, 1, and into the collar. Doesn't have to be dead on accurate, doesn't have to be exactly symmetrical. Similar, close enough will do. Right, we got that in? Let's carry on. Let's put in the side parts of the hair now. We're going to have some of the hair on the side just coming into the cheek. We're going to start on the pink line, on the light orange line just there. We're going to curl a line in towards the mouth, back out, and then do another one. We're just going to stay inside this head shape though, okay? So starting here, look, let's do this. Aim there, back, and then do a smaller one. Looks like the side of a Christmas tree, that kind of a thing. Let's try and do something similar on the other side. Just coming down the side of the head. Curl into near the mouth. And then do a smaller one. Got 2 chunks of hair coming in there as well. Beautiful. Right, just a couple more lines to do on here and then we can start throwing in some colour. Next line is a big W that's going to go across the top of the head. Just here, look. Starting there, big W. Something like that will do. I've gone quite big with that, so feel free to go a little bit smaller. Give yourself a bit more space in there for the eyes. But that big W, see how this section of the W is curving out this way? this section of the W is curving out the opposite way. That's kind of what you want. One more piece of hair over here, look, so just there. Another little V shape. That's our fringe, and then what we're going to do is going to tuck the rest of the fringe behind these side bits of hair. Last two lines, and then we're colouring in, okay? So just tuck the fringe with a straight line just there. Straight line just there. Just tuck that fringe behind the hair. That's perfect. That's the shape that we want. Okay, let me just zoom out so you can see what it looks like. There we go. Okay, once you've got that, we can start putting on a little bit of colour now. Give it a few seconds to dry. See, we've got plenty of space down the bottom, so we can do a little body in there later. We'll see. I might just put a suggestion in there so that you can just colour it in after the session. Okay, hair colours again. We've already used the cacao. We're going to colour the rest of the hair with that cacao later, but for the time being we need a little highlight on the top. This is where we're going to use brown. So here we go. Up here at the top of the head, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the top of that dark brown line. Not even sure you can see the difference between that. I'm having to check that I've used a different pen. Over the top of that dark brown line, and then what we'll do is we'll join those two bits together with another curve. Just goes across there like that. Colour that bit in. That's all it is. Really nice and simple at the top there, just like a little crescent kind of shape. The rest of the hair is going to be in with that dark brown. But we'll come back to that, because what I want to do now is go and jump into the face. And in that face, we're going to colour it all in with a light orange. The only bits we're going to leave are the inner mouth. Everything else with the light orange. So let's go and colour all of that in. So obviously these bits on the where the hairline is, we don't have to worry about those. All we're doing is just focusing on the bits inside the hair here. Look. Use it as an opportunity to sharpen up some of those lines. See how, look, we're just going over these lines, giving them sharp points just there. See how over this side it's got those big round points. Over this side we've got sharp points. It's worth doing that, even though these lines will eventually be hidden behind a black line. We're only going to go quite thin with our black line today. Let's work our way across. Remember, don't go into the mouth. Nice and gentle with your colouring in. Don't press too hard. Again, using it as an opportunity just to sharpen off some of those edges. Look, I've just gone over it twice and just rubbed some of the paint off. It's always worth remembering that if you can get it loaded on just once, then that's the thickest load of paint you're going to get. A nice gentle press, don't press too hard. A nice line across it will give you a nice thick load of paint on there. As soon as you go over it again, it's not like an ink pen where you're doubling the amount of ink on there. Technically all you're doing is just wiping off some paint. So try to get it right first time. If you can't get it right first time, wait for it to dry, go back to it. There we go. It's all a little bit messy around the edges, but don't worry, we will tidy all of these bits up when we put the black lines on, when we colour this bit in brown. Last little bit, just get into that neck and colour that bit in. Awesome. Okay, let's go and put in the back of the mouth. So as we do this, we're going to use red wine. As we do this, remember that this character's got a top set of teeth, bottom set of teeth, and a tongue to deal with. Okay, so the top set of teeth is just going to be a line across. It's the same as that line that we've got right across the top. But then down the bottom, instead of just doing a line across, which will be the teeth, we're going to do a curve across, because it'll be the tongue. So you see that kind of gap that you've got there? That's how big the teeth are. Do the same kind of gap down the bottom, but this time do a curve across like that. Let's join those sides together and let's colour that in. This is red wine that we're going with in here. I know all of these colours look very similar. We've got the brown cacao and red wine. They're all tonally very similar. But once we put those black lines on, I think those colours will just pop out a little bit more. You'll be able to see the distinction between them all. Okay, once we've got that wine in, let's go and work ourselves on the outside again. So now we're going to go and take that cacao brown, that darker brown. Careful you don't smudge that wet mouth. But we're going to go and colour the rest of the hair in using cacao brown. So the first place I would start would be by putting this line back in across the top. Look. And that line in across the top. Then we can start colouring it all in. Again, just be really mindful about where you place your hand, and we're going to colour in all of this hair. Now technically this colouring in stage is still part of my making a mess stage, but there's no reason why you can't just do a little bit of tidying up whilst you're in here. So little things like this, look, just see the fat ends we've got just there, go and tidy those up. Just turn them into sharp ends. Look, it'll make it so much easier when we come to outlining. Just work down the side. See how we're making that light orange line that used to be the shape of the head? That's disappearing now. This is why I like using Posca pens for my guidelines rather than using a pencil. I'm all for getting the artwork done as efficiently as possible, and for me, going straight in with pen is something that helps with that. You might make a few mistakes along the way, but eventually you'll get much more confident with a pen and much more efficient. So here we go, just working our way down. As we get down to this bit, we're just going to go around that bottom part into the neck. Now, one thing to remember is to keep on priming your pen. Priming it is, there's two stages to priming it. One is shaking it, the other is pumping it. Pressing the nib down on a piece of paper so that the nib can go into the barrel and collect some fresh paint. Just got to do that really, really regular. But make sure you do it on a scrap sheet of card. If you do it on your actual artwork, one day it will catch you out and it will just pour paint out. Especially if the pens are hot. So if you're drawing in a hot country, or if it's hot where you are at the moment, these pens do tend to go a little bit runny when the hot weather is around. So again, you can see I'm just using it as an opportunity to do a little bit of tidying up as well as just throwing in loads of colour. Remember, nice and gentle, don't be pressing too hard. I will keep reminding you of that because I know it's very easy to just forget that and to all of a sudden find yourself pressing really hard on your paper and wondering why your colouring in isn't quite as opaque as it needs to be. Okay, that's not too bad, that's looking alright. Let's just sharpen this bit off a little bit. That looks pretty neat and tidy. Well, let's get back into the smaller areas around the mouth and the collar. First thing we'll do, let's go and put a little light grey triangle in the collar. So we're going to move down a little bit now into this collar area. It's not light grey, it's just normal grey. We've used deep grey, but let's just in there, look. This is like the top of the zip. Go and throw in a little triangle just there. While that's drying, we can then jump up into the mouth and throw in the tongue. Important to remember, not the entire part there is the tongue. Yeah, that is the tongue and the teeth. So we're going to draw in those teeth lines, that teeth line. Let's call it a teeth line. Draw in that teeth line first, then the tongue, then colour it in. Got to have those teeth in there. It's really important to have those in there. Otherwise this character is going to look a bit strange. Last bit of the main section of colouring in is just to add the deep grey to the rest of this. Now we can completely go over all of this. We're going to lose some of the shape, but we'll bring that shape back when we put the black outlines on afterwards. Beautiful. Let's take a little look back. There you go. That's where we're at the moment. Okay, next stage then. We're going to go and get into the outlining of this character, okay? We'll do a little bit on the fringe, on the hair. We'll slowly start working our way down. Put the eyes in, and then at the end of the session, I'll put some guidelines in for where the jacket's going to go. And then you can decide whether you want to add that in on your own piece. Okay, so for black lines, I'm going to use the 3M. And I'm going to start at the top in that hair. So with this 3M, now remember your 3M, the flow of the 3M is a little bit slower than any other colour or any other size, I should say. So just be nice and gentle and slow with your outlining here. Right, let's go and do this. So in order not to smudge it too much, I'm going to try and do it from the top down, okay? So let's go and do this top bit of hair first. So we're going to start at the top there, all the way down the side and out. Double line it. Let's go for a wonky line. We like a wonky line. Wonky lines are easier to draw, look better as well. So why not draw a wonky line? There's our first bit. Whilst we wait for this side to dry, let's go and do this bit across here. Now we're not going to put no flicks in here, it's just an outline going all the way around the outside. And just remember to double line it. So once you've gone over it once, just go over it again. But with your double lining, remember, you don't want to be too neat. It's so easy. Once you get confident with a pen, it's so easy to make those lines quite neat. And actually, that's the opposite of what you want. You want to have those little tiny mistakes in there. That's what makes this work. Okay, let's go and do that big W that we did at the top here. Let's go and do that shape first. Now, what we're going to do on each side of the W, we're going to extend into the hair a little bit. So make sure this line is dry, and then up here, look, just extend into the hair. Down the other side and extend into the hair. Double line that, make it nice and wonky. We can sharpen off some of these lines later if we need to. There you go, that looks quite good. The natural style of these graphic novels is that you don't have to worry too much about the ends being tapered off. Kind of works with them just being rounded ends. That's the traditional, not the traditional, that's the original style of this cartoonist. But you know, it's your artwork. If you prefer to taper it off. You do you. Let's go and do this next bit. Again, just come in all the way back up in there. Okay, let's do the sides now. Once we've got that top bit done, forget these two bits. We'll come back to those. We're going to do these sides, these bits of hair that are flicking into the face. Again, starting up here, look. Go around there, come back, little flick in. Little double lining, and then the same for the one underneath. Like that. Let's go around the other side. Let's go again, look. Starting up in the hair, double line it, going to the side, flicking it out. What you can just about see on this one is, look at that line, is just not quite perfect. It's wonky, which I like, but it's got a little bit of a streak inside of it. So we can just, when it's dry, you can just give that another little coat. Make sure you get rid of that streak. Right, let's carry on with this then. So the next two lines, let's go and join the fringe to the side hair. Careful where you place your hand. Nice wonky line across there. Joins it all together. We're going to do the eyes right at the very end. So let's go and do this mouth next. So because the mouth kind of comes out of the chin, I just wanted to go around the chin as well. Now it's important to know that this line, this curve that goes all the way across here, it's going to hit that hairline. See, in between the face and the hair, it's going to hit that. And then when we get to this point, we're going across the bottom of the teeth. And then when we get to this point, it's between the hair and the face again, okay? Now, I always suggest to people to try and draw the opposite way around. If you do a line like that, going from left to right, sometimes it's difficult to see where your hand is going to end up. But if you go from right to left, you can see exactly where you need to be. Now it does mean that your line might be a little bit wonkier while you get used to doing that, but it's the best way to see where you're going. You can see these little white bits down here. I'm not worried about those little white bits, so don't panic about those. They'll disappear when we put the collar on. Let's go and outline the mouth. So we're just going to go around the outside of the mouth now. Let's do that bit across the top. Again, going right to left, down the bottom. We're going to do the teeth lines and then around the tongue. Nothing complicated with these lines, we're just keeping it nice and simple. Teeth lines and around the tongue. Just double lining as we go along with everything we do. Inside that mouth though, we're going to throw in a tonsil. I don't know how good you are at drawing tonsils. Some people kind of struggle with the symmetry of them. I always find it easier to draw the actual tonsil in first. So right in the middle of the mouth there is a tonsil, just kind of floating there, a little kind of U shape, more like a capital C where it's just curled in a little bit at the top. Then what you do is you take that top bit and you go up and around and back down. Same on this side, look, up and around and back down. Now by doing that, I think it keeps your central bit central, which is kind of what we want. If you start over this side and do it all in one swoosh, that might work for you, but if you think you're going to be at risk of being a little bit off center, then try that technique of just doing that middle bit first. There we go. Colour the back of the throat in black, and then we'll finish off these teeth. We're going to put in 3 lines. It's like a Y club. 3 lines to put in 4 teeth. So here's our 3 lines. 1 in the middle, 1 there, 1 there. 3 lines to put in 4 teeth. Do the same down the bottom. 1 right in the middle, 1 on that side, 1 on that side. 3 lines for 4 teeth. Okay, let's give that a bit of time to dry. Whilst that's drying, we're going to work down into the neck, and then we'll put the eyes in. Once we've got the eyes in, just a little bit of fun cutting in, adding some extra colours and shapes, freckles, whatever you want to. Down on the neck, remember that C shape that we did for the collar? That's the bit we're going to do first. So from there, hitting the bottom of the neck and over onto the other side. Once you've got that in, then we can put the neck in, outline the neck. And then do me a favour, as we bring this line down into the collar, do not go all the way into the bottom part of the collar. Let's just go to about here, look. Just down the side there. That'll make sense later why we're not going all the way down the bottom. Outline that triangle. As we're outlining the triangle, we're going to go all the way across the bottom of it, and then maybe just a little flick that side, maybe just a little flick that side. The reason we're doing that, leaving that little gap there and not putting a black line there, is because eventually that's going to become the chest area of the jacket, so it's all connected. So we just put a suggestion of a crease in there rather than an actual black line. Okay, this is looking great. Let's go and put in some eyes now. These eyes are great looking eyes. There's 1, 2, 3 stages to these eyes. Going to be quite thick and black, so you might want to use your 5M depending on how much space you've left. I'm going to carry on using my 3M first, okay? What I'm going to do is up in this area here, I'm going to put in, so just about, kind of look at the gap between the teeth. Let's put in a little line there, a little line there. Straight away, they look really funny as a pair of eyes on their own. So you could just leave it like that. I'm not though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little curved line out and a curved line back. So starting at the top of that line, finishing at the bottom of that line, curved line out, curved line back. So like this. And let's colour that in. The next bit we do is so that technically that's the part of the eye. That's where the two eyelids join, okay? That's the bit we've just drawn there. The next bit we're going to do is the part underneath. This is like some makeup, or where there's a crease on the underside of the eye, okay? Watch this. We're going to start here, right on the bottom. We're going to come down here, go up, and then across back into where we just started, okay? So like this, look, down here, back up, back into where we just started. Colour that in black. Let's do the same kind of thing on the other side. So let's start in there, down, up, back, colour it black. That line we've just done down the bottom, we're going to then do at the top. Same kind of line. Now you might end up going through some hair. If you've not got much space, you might end up going through some hair. If you want, go straight through the hair. You can always put the hair back there later. It might be easier to do that. If you've got a big chunk of hair, you might want to go behind. It's totally up to you on how you do this. I'm going to go straight through, look. So up there, down, back again, colour it in black. On the other side, again, I'm going to go straight through the hair. I'm not going to worry too much about the hair. Starting there, up there, down, back. I'll bring that little bit of hair back to the front later. It's not such a problem if the eyes go in front of the hair. It's one of the things you can get away with when you're doing this kind of artwork. In fact, there's only a little tiny bit of the brown been chopped out there, so I think I'll get away with that. But if you haven't, don't worry, you can bring that back later. Okay, we've got the eyes in. There's our eyes. Now let's go and put in some angry eyebrows. They are capital L's. And again, I'm definitely going to go straight through the hair with these shapes, knowing that I can then make those shapes disappear later on. So here's my angry eyebrows, my L shapes. So starting up here, get to that point, little flick up. Same on the other side. You see how look at the gap there between the eyebrow, the angry eyebrow and the eye. Look at the gap there between the angry eyebrow and the eye. So we're just making that gap a lot wider on the outside end there. Because our character's angry, there's going to be a little line there. And the most complicated nose you'll draw all day is just a little line going across like that. Now that's pretty much it for our work. Oh no, we've got this bit to do here. Let's go and do this bit here, and then I'll repeat that line. So with this, it's just a regular double lining, nice and wonky. Finished. Now that's it for the main part of the character. What we're going to do now is a little bit of tidying up, a little bit of adding some extra bits in there, and then I'll quickly show you how to draw these outstretched arms as well. Okay. So let's do a little bit of tidying up then. Let's wait for those eyebrows to dry. Let's go and grab the brown, and we're just going to throw in some little freckles. Look. Little freckles either side, 3 little dots. That's it for what the main character has on there. Let's grab that cacao brown, this brown that we used for the hair. We want to make those eyebrows disappear underneath the hair now. So now they're dry, let's just go and make them disappear. Look. There we go. It's gone just there. Let's make it disappear in here. If you have to go too far in, and then go back over with the black. That's fine, you'll get away with that. Just go and put it in. If you prefer the end of your lines to be tapered, let's go and do that. I always do, so here we go. Look, just tapering off these lines, making them look a lot sharper, neater, more professional. You know, looking professional isn't the end of it though. It isn't the be all and end all. This is a successful comic without having these tapered ends. So you do what works for you. I'm always looking for an excuse to cut in though. It's a technique I like. I think those lines look a little bit better. You can also just go in, like that part of the line just looks a bit fat to me, so you can also go in and just thin out some lines if anything's looking a bit too fat. Let's also get in with this light orange, and what I'm going to do with the light orange, I'm just going to go around those eyes and sharpen off those a little bit as well. So things like the edges there, I used a 3M, so it's fairly accurate anyway, but look, just chopping off the edges there, just to give them a real sharp point up there in the eyebrows. You want to taper those off. Tapering off a little bit the nose so it's got a bit more of a curve. Any other lines that you think they're in the wrong place, go and cut them out. Look, tidy up. If that line looks a bit too thick, let's chop that out. This bit, let's cut in so we've got sharp ends. I think we're pretty much done with the character there. What I am going to do is, what was it? There was one part that was missing. Can't see it anymore. Let's go and put in the, oh yeah, bringing these black lines back. You remember those black lines where I went over with the cacao at the top there? Let's bring these black lines to the front again. Just make that bit inside there really sharp. There we go. That looks good. Right, with our black 3M, let's go and put in these arms. I'm really keen to show you how these arms look because I think they're quite simple and they do look pretty cool as well. You might want to use, you might want to put a line straight through the hair because you know how you can make them disappear. I'm gonna do a little bit of guesswork on mine to make this work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just do a little bit of a bouncy line around here, and then we're going to have the arm just popping up over there somewhere. Okay, I should zoom in a bit really, shouldn't I? So over here, look, so we're going to do a bit of a bouncy line in here, and we're going to have the arm coming up that way. So this bouncy line needs to kind of start just behind the collar, halfway up the collar. So you've got that part, that is the like around the shoulder or the collarbone kind of area, inner shoulder, let's call it that. Then we've got this other bouncy line which is going to be for the where the fabric is all gathered up. And then what we'll do is we're just going to head up and out this way, across like that. That becomes the sleeve. Another little line up there. That becomes the cuff of the character. Let's try and do something similar on the other side. So remember, you're coming out there. We've got that bouncy line. It's probably going to disappear behind that bit of hair this time. And then we'll have this line that comes up. Down there. Little cuff as well. Awesome, that's the top part of our jacket. Let's work our way down now to the bottom part. We're going to have to put in a couple of little lines around here First line is where these bouncy lines are, where these bouncy bits are. Let's just put in a little line there. And the same on the other side. 2 little lines flicking out. This is going to become like the armpit area. Let's do another one here. So you see that bouncy line? Let's do another line just there, a little bit longer. Same here, look. So from about there, a little bit longer. And then in fact what we'll do is we'll bring that line back, go and start dropping it down. So bring the line back, drop it down. Bring this outside line back, drop it down. Looking a bit messy at the moment, I know that, don't panic. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this line, you see that line there going up in that direction. In that direction, we're going to take that line, we're going to bring it down to about there. So the same line from there, going up. Across here, let's do the same kind of thing. There's our line. Just going up like that. Little zip. And down the bottom, you can have this going off the page, or you can just put a line across so that you can stop there. And then go and throw in some colour on that jacket. So I would suggest up here the cuffs going to be in this grey colour. You might need to bring these black lines back, but cuffs with the grey line, look, in with this zip. Rest of that jacket we can go and do. How are we doing for time? We've got plenty of time. Rest of that jacket we can go and colour in with this deep grey. So this is the same colour as that we used for the collar. Let's go and put that deep grey in. And yeah, like I say, we're doing great for time, so we can quickly put this bit of colour in. Bring our black lines back. And then we're done. Now hopefully you've drawn the same size as me so that your hands go off the page. That was always the intention. Although we've got a few hand drawing tutorials, it's something I try to avoid if I can, just because I'm all for drawing stuff that is enjoyable. And hands, if you get hands wrong, they kind of suck the joy. If you get anything wrong, it kind of sucks the joy out of drawing. So why bother drawing something that has got that hold over you? Especially when you can do stuff like this, where you can just have it going slightly off page and it actually really works. You can see why I left that broken line now for the collar there, because we're bringing the front of the jacket all together. It's a big old area to colour in, so it is going to take a bit of time. The jacket is a very good area that you can customise, so if you want to put your own emblems on there or stitching, some detail in the zip, that kind of thing. You can see how I Over on the other side, I just cut out those lines, but still kept them in there. You kind of want to keep those lines in there as much as possible. We will bring them back, make them a bit thicker if we need to. But you want to try and keep those lines in because they're a good indication of where a crease is. When you're colouring in, don't forget you're pressing gently. Try to always colour in just one section at a time. See how we're just slowly filling it up, moving the line across. What you don't really want to do is you don't want to do this like haphazard colouring in where you're kind of going like that, because it becomes it starts drying up really quick, these paint pens, and as you go over the top of it you're going to end up scraping things up. It's just going to make the colouring in just look a little bit more amateurish. So try and get it all done at the same time. So just like that, just moving your pen along just slightly. You can see how I'm outlining mine as I'm going along. Just take your time getting those edges just right, and then the middle bit. You can pick up the pace. There's another edge, just take your time on that bit, get it just right, pick up the pace everywhere else. This line just here is a particularly wonky line. Wasn't meant to be. That's just how it came out because I had a bit of a wobble. But actually I quite like it being on the outside edge of a jacket and being the fabric. That wonkiness actually quite works. So have an open mind. Whenever you're drawing, have an open mind to what you've done, even if it's not what you expected it to be. Even if it's not, it doesn't look like what it was in your head. That's okay. Okay, so one other thing to do in here is just look at this. Look at the thickness of the arms. It looks to me like one arm is a little bit thicker than the other. You can always use your pen. I always like to use my pen to kind of measure it. So you can see like that arm is about the thickness of a pen lid. That arm, well, this arm like this. Let's go there. It's a little bit thicker, I'd say, than a pen width. Whereas this one is exactly a pen width. So I'm just going to go and grow this one just a little bit. Try and make it a little bit more symmetrical. So yeah, do that a lot. Use your like the 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 1 finger to kind of generate to understand the gaps in between stuff. Use your pen. You know, you can measure to different points on your pen. So look at that gap there. Look at the gap to where the pen is. If you want to make sure things are just the same size of all over the place, that's the kind of thing you can do. Okay, we're going to finish off now. We're going to wrap this up within the next 2 minutes just by going over all these black outlines again. So be careful you don't smudge anything. Just bring all these black outlines back to the front. Little flicks in there. Double line in. This flick up here, look. Make these lines thicker. Remember what I said about putting some detail on the zip? You could just put a bunch of lines going across the zip if you wanted to. Oops. Look at that, way out there. Way out. Made a complete hash of that. Didn't see where my pen was going. Made the line too thick. And that's another one where we'll come back to it. We'll tidy that up when we're ready. Last little line then, this one going across the bottom. I think we are done. There you go, sharpen that bit off. Made a right mess in there. Anytime you make a mess, just wait for it to dry, go fix it later. Did the same over here, just made a bit of a mess. Taper off a few of these lines. I'm going to leave it like that. There you go, that's good. You could probably put a little bit of background colour in there, or like I say, put something on the jacket. Totally up to you. But that's good. Speech bubble across the top would look really cool on this one. Give it a little signature, and there you go. We're done. That was Kim Pine in Posca. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'll see you in the next video.